Have you ever walked into a room and suddenly stopped wondering, wait, why did I even come in here? Or maybe you've been in the middle of a conversation and the name of someone you've known for years just slips away. You try to laugh it off, telling yourself it's just part of getting older. But deep down, a small voice whispers, what if this is something more serious? You see, memory is not just about remembering names or where you left your keys. Memory is your story. It's your first kiss, your child's first steps, the recipes you learned from your mother, the laughter you shared with friends. So when memory starts to fade, it can feel like you're losing little pieces of yourself. And if you've ever watched a loved one go through this, you know how painful it is to see their light dim, even just a little. But here's the truth many people don't realize. Memory loss is not always an unstoppable part of aging. In fact, a lot of what we blame on just getting old is often linked to things we can understand, prevent, and even slow down. And the earlier you know what to look for, the better chance you have of protecting your brain and the memories that make you who you are. That's exactly what this video is about. Today we're going to break down why memory fades as we age, the hidden reasons it speeds up faster for some people, and most importantly, what you can do starting right now to keep your mind sharp. By the end of this video, you'll know which daily habits and foods can either protect your brain or slowly damage it without you realizing. And some of what you hear today may surprise you. So before we get started, I want you to do something simple. Go down to the comments and type, I'm here, if you are ready to protect your memory and keep your brain strong. And while you're at it, subscribe to Longevity Corner, where we share weekly insights on how to age with clarity, strength, and dignity. Now let's start with the first reason memory fades. Imagine your brain as a vast library, shelves upon shelves filled with the stories of your life. Every smile, every song, every conversation you have ever had is stored there. But over time, the librarian starts to misplace some of the books. That librarian is your hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for memory. As you age, the hippocampus naturally shrinks. It does not happen overnight, but slowly year after year, it loses some of its ability to keep track of where those books are placed. Scientists tell us that the cells in the hippocampus become fewer and less active as we get older. The connections between them, what we call plasticity, also weaken. Neurotransmitters, those little messengers that help one brain cell talk to another, become less efficient. This is why you might feel like certain memories take longer to retrieve, almost as if your brain has to dig deeper into the shelves to find the right book. Here is the part many people get wrong. They believe memory loss is just inevitable, that it is a normal part of aging and there is nothing anyone can do about it. But that is not true for everyone. Some people live into their 80s and 90s with sharp minds and vivid recall. Why? Because they found ways to keep their hippocampus active and stimulated. The hippocampus is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it stays. You can challenge it with puzzles, crosswords, learning new skills, or even trying something as simple as taking a new route on your daily walk. Exercise also increases blood flow to the brain, which supports the hippocampus. Small, consistent actions create resilience. So remember, shrinking may be natural, but decline does not have to be. But shrinking is not the only challenge. There is another silent thief of memory, and that is poor blood flow. Think of your brain like a beautiful garden. A garden only flourishes when it is watered well. Without water, even the healthiest flowers wither. Your brain is no different. It depends on a steady flow of oxygen and nutrients delivered through blood. When blood flow is reduced, the brain struggles to function at its best. Conditions like high blood pressure, diabetes, and clogged arteries restrict this flow. Tiny vessels that once carried oxygen to delicate brain tissue start to narrow or even close. Over time, the brain cells starve. When the brain is starved, memory is one of the first abilities to suffer. Here is where families often make a mistake. They assume memory issues are only mental, that they exist in the brain alone. But your brain is connected to every part of your body. Poor circulation in the heart or arteries directly affects your memory. Ignoring vascular health means ignoring brain health. The good news is you can protect your brain's garden. Daily walking, gentle exercise, and foods that are good for your heart also protect your memory. Stay hydrated. Choose whole foods instead of processed ones. Even small improvements in blood pressure or blood sugar can bring more oxygen to your brain. The body and the brain are always talking. So when you care for one, you care for the other. But what you eat does more than fuel your body. It decides whether your brain thrives or declines. I remember speaking with a senior who admitted that she often skipped meals. She thought it was no big deal. She felt she was eating less because she was less active. But over time, her memory became cloudy. She struggled with words she once used with ease. That is because the brain, like any organ, depends on nutrients. When you lack key nutrients like vitamin B12, your brain cells can be damaged. Without enough omega-3 fatty acids, the protective coating around your nerves weakens. Without antioxidants from fruits and vegetables, your brain becomes more vulnerable to damage from stress and toxins. The result is brain fog, confusion, and a slower memory. Some people think the answer is just to take a handful of supplements. But while supplements can help in certain cases, food matters far more. The body absorbs and uses nutrients from real food in ways supplements cannot always replace. That means leafy greens like spinach and kale, fatty fish like salmon and sardines, nuts and seeds, and colorful fruits like blueberries and strawberries. These are like brain fuel, feeding your memory with every bite. Food is powerful, but there is another hidden thief of memory that many people overlook, and that is stress. Have you ever noticed that when you are stressed, you forget things more easily? That is no coincidence. When you live with constant stress, your body produces more cortisol, the stress hormone. Cortisol in small amounts is useful, but in large amounts over long periods, it becomes toxic to the hippocampus. Remember, that is your memory hub. Stress literally damages the very place where memories are stored. And it does not stop there. Stress often ruins sleep. Sleep is when the brain consolidates memories, moving them from short-term storage into long-term storage. Without sleep, your brain struggles to do this work. That is why, after a restless night, you feel foggy, as though your mind cannot quite catch up. Families sometimes think insomnia is harmless or just an annoyance, but it robs the brain of its chance to recover. That is why deep breathing, meditation, or even a calming evening routine makes such a difference. Going to bed at a consistent time, dimming the lights, reading something gentle before sleep. All these little steps protect your memory. When stress goes down and sleep goes up, the brain thanks you. And finally, one of the most overlooked factors of all is social isolation. Picture a man who once loved telling stories. At family gatherings, he would speak for hours about his childhood, his work, his adventures. But after losing his spouse, he stopped talking as much. Slowly, his words faded, his stories slipped away, and his memory decline accelerated. The truth is, the brain is designed for connection. Every time you talk to someone, your brain lights up in multiple regions at once. It processes language, recalls details, manages emotions, and reads social cues. This keeps your brain active. Loneliness, on the other hand, is now recognized as one of the fastest ways memory declines. Too many people assume that television or sitting quietly with a book is enough stimulation. While these have their place, they cannot replace human connection. Picking up the phone, joining a community activity, attending a small club, or even chatting with neighbors all keep the brain alive. It does not matter how big the circle is. What matters is that the brain stays engaged with people. So when you think about protecting memory, remember this. It is not only about puzzles or diets. It is about the conversations you have, the love you share, and the time you spend with others. Now, let's take a step back and talk about the bigger picture. What all of this means emotionally, and how you can reframe it in your own life. Watching memory fade in yourself or in someone you love can feel like losing pieces of a shared history. It is not just about forgetting a birthday or misplacing keys. It is about losing the stories that make up a lifetime. It is about a husband struggling to remember the name of the woman he has loved for 50 years. It is about a grandmother who suddenly cannot recall the recipe she taught her daughter. Each small lapse can feel like a crack in the foundation of who we are. That is painful. It can make you feel helpless, frustrated, or even scared of what might come next. But here is what you need to remember. These signs do not mean it is the end. They are signals. Signals that it is time to take action. Time to care for the brain the same way we care for the heart or the lungs. Too often, people assume memory loss is untouchable, something they cannot do anything about. That belief robs families of hope. The truth is, the brain is not finished when memory begins to slip. It is calling out for attention. When you recognize the signs, you move from fear to empowerment. You no longer sit back and watch things get worse. Instead, you begin to see the opportunities in everyday choices. Small habits can make an enormous difference. Choosing to move your body every day, even a simple walk outside. Preparing meals filled with the foods that truly feed the brain. Reaching out for a conversation instead of sitting in silence. Pausing to breathe deeply when stress begins to rise. These little steps do not just keep the body alive. They keep the brain resilient. And here is the part that should fill you with hope. The brain is remarkably adaptable. Even in later years, it can form new pathways. It can create new connections. This ability is called neuroplasticity. It means that as long as you are alive, your brain can grow and change. Think about that. At 70, 80, even 90 years old, you can still teach your brain new tricks. You can still protect your memory. You can still shape how the story unfolds. So instead of seeing memory loss as a door closing, see it as an invitation to open new ones. This is not about chasing perfection. It is about finding strength in awareness and love in action. Your memories matter. Your story matters. And by caring for your brain today, you give yourself and your loved ones more of those precious moments tomorrow. Today, we uncovered 5 powerful reasons why memory fades with age. We spoke about the shrinking of the hippocampus, the very library of your brain where memories are stored. We explored how poor blood flow can starve your brain of oxygen and make recall harder. We looked at nutritional gaps and how missing key vitamins and nutrients can cloud your mind. We touched on stress and the way sleepless nights allow cortisol to slowly harm memory. And finally, we uncovered the danger of isolation and how a lack of connection can quietly speed up decline. But we did more than identify the problems. We also explored ways to slow this process, and in many cases, to stop it from taking away your clarity. You now know that puzzles, learning, and exercise strengthen your hippocampus. You understand that a healthy heart supports a healthy brain. You have seen how food can either feed your memory or drain it. You have heard how daily choices to rest, to breathe, and to sleep well are not small luxuries, but brain protection. And you now know that every conversation, every laugh, every story shared is not just a social moment, but medicine for the mind. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these 5 do you think has affected your family the most? Has it been the stress and the sleepless nights, or has it been the quiet danger of isolation? Maybe you have seen how nutrition changes everything. Share your thoughts in the comments. Your words may not only help you, but also encourage someone else who is going through the same struggle. If you found value in what we shared today, take a moment to subscribe to Longevity Corner. Here you will find more simple but powerful insights to help you and your loved ones keep both body and brain strong after 60. Every week we share tools, habits, and truths that make aging not just something you survive, but something you live with strength and dignity. Thank you for watching and for giving your time to this conversation. Remember, aging does not mean decline. With the right steps, it can mean wisdom, strength, and clarity. You have the power to shape your journey and to keep your memories alive. Stay strong, stay informed, and I will see you in the next video.